Hello, dear friends. Today I have discovered a wonderful project by Google Arts and Culture. They've put together hundreds of exhibitions from museums and galleries from around the world and presented them in a 3D virtual format so we can enjoy countless exhibits that we may never have seen otherwise from the comfort of our own home. So the first one I happen to have picked is an exhibit from the National Museum of the History of Ukraine, and it's an exhibition of the paintings by Serge Lifar, the world famous dancer Serge Lifar. So without much further ado, let's jump in. So this gallery is dedicated to world ballet star, famous dancer and choreographer Serge Lifar. In the 70s, Lifar, who had been drawing small drawings and sketches before that, devoted himself completely to painting. In his autobiography, Memoirs of Icarus, he describes his new hobby as, from 1970 to 1975, I experienced the joy of painting. I tried to depict dance movements, colours, and rhythms with acrylic paints. I dedicated these graphic, almost plastic works to my friend, Pablo Picasso. He was so kind that he was surprised, admired, and warmly advised me to continue. Only I'm not an artist, but a choreographer who draws. First of all, how wonderful are the colours here. Picture 1973. That looks wonderful. Here it looks like the brushstrokes of the paint almost create the sense of the sinews, of the muscles, of the quads, the calf. You can see the real muscular tension in the body. I find this fascinating. Is that an eyeball? What's the definition of the head? Is it even important that we have a definition of the head? You can get in close to have a look. So Serge Lifar, is it Sergei? Yes, it's probably Sergei. I apologise if I've been mispronouncing that. Sergei Mikhailovich Lifar, the leading dancer and choreographer of the First Theatre of France's Grand Opera, brilliant teacher, historian, and theoretician of dance art. Lovely. Let's walk over here. So he was enamoured with music and attended classes at the conservatory, where he studied alongside the future virtuoso pianist Volodymyr Sviatoslavych. Sergei envisioned himself as a renowned pianist in the future, but his dreams were shattered by an injury to his right hand, which he sustained during the Bolshevik forces' attack on Kiev. Oh dear. He was born on April the 2nd in 1905, and what's happened here? Have I come too close against the wall? So here's a picture in 1973. Wonderful movement again. Just the swirls, you can see the energy in the swirls, representing the energy of the movement itself. It's simple but lovely. Let's look over here. Here's another movement piece. You can really see like the way the torso, the trunk is just spring-like. Well, it is literally spring-like, isn't it? That movement launching through the air. Wonderful. That's lovely. Again, you can just really... This is the argument for art, impressionist art over photography, for example, which is photography gives you great detail, but this art gives you movement and purpose and meaning. Lovely. That's fantastic. Look at that. So wild and free, yet elegant. Interesting. Now what do we think this is showing us here? To me, it's almost like the trace of a dance, skidding through the air between lights and movement and sound. A little bit like if you had a sparkler and you set it alight and just waved it like a wand through the night sky, leaving this glowing trail behind it. By chance, when he happened upon a class at Bronislava Nijinsky's private ballet studio, he admired this art forever. The renowned ballerina and choreographer, sister of Vaclav Nijinsky, like many famous artists, relocated from Bolshevik Russia to Kiev, where she headed the ballet troupe of the Kiev Opera and opened a studio. But when 16-year-old Serge Lifar sought admission to her studio, she categorically refused, as it was too late to begin ballet professionally at such an age. Similar to the Jedi, P. Nijinsky taught at the State Central Studio, which the government opened to all, and that is where he was enrolled. In 21, Bronislava Nijinsky accepted Sergei Diaghilev's invitation and travelled to Paris. Sergei did not abandon his dance lessons, understanding how much he needed to catch up. He invited an experienced accompanist and P. Nijinsky's favourite student, Hanna Vorobyova, to help him work on his technique. A studious artist. What have we got over here? Another lovely image here. You can see this individual is bedecked in a ruff or a polo neck or a turtleneck, and this is interesting. There's additional shade here, which I think adds to the image of this person, this body spinning, pirouetting on the spot. Wow, look at that. So, the two dancers coming together, three dancers perhaps, yes. We've got three pairs of legs. Perhaps this is the head of one, the heads of the other, entwined. Or perhaps the movement of an individual spinning like a cartwheel. In the autumn of 23, a telegram arrived from P. Nijinsky in Paris inviting 5 of her best key students to join the troupe. Sergei was not on that list, but a student hesitated to go, and he risked taking his place, overcoming inhuman difficulties, and after numerous attempts to cross the border, Sergei finally got into Warsaw, and then on January the 13th moved to Paris, where he was admitted to Diaghilev's ballet troupe. And here is a poster of the exhibition of Serge Lifar's artworks in 1973. Since 1972, he regularly organised exhibitions of his works in Cannes, Paris, Venice and Monte Carlo, and his paintings were a financial success. Even French President Georges Pompidou bought the canvas Dancer at the Crossbar, and he gave some works to friends. In 1975 he suddenly stopped painting because he could not come to terms with the fact that his paintings were scattered all over the world. The museum collection includes 25 paintings Serge Lifar. Lovely painting of flowers here, bold colours, likely representing France, the French flag, the tricolour, where he had found progression and purpose in his work. Wow, that's lovely. I've really enjoyed that. What a lovely idea. I'd never heard of this artist or this dancer before, and I never would have done if Google Arts and Culture hadn't put this together. I think it's so fascinating to see how, I just happened to jump into this gallery as the first one out of a list that I saw, but it's so interesting to see how we could likely see parallels from the early 1900s to today, or the mid-1900s to today, where people have to overcome great personal hardship to be able to fulfill ambition, creative or otherwise. And unfortunately, of course, we're seeing that again today. And somebody who wished to be a pianist but then had injured their right hand fighting Bolshevik forces could not fulfill that dream. Devastating and tragic, but what's so hopeful and optimistic in this particular gallery is it's how a life finds new meaning and purpose, and I get the impression that this individual, Serge Lifar, was ambitious, driven, and really wanted to make their mark on the world. And I feel privileged to have been able to learn about him. Thank you for joining me for this walkthrough of an exhibition from